to the Chinese to try to negotiate not only a deal to buy American natural gas, but also to try to help the Chinese start purchasing interest in the drillers for natural gas. Now think of that. You know how outraged everyone is over China buying farmland in North Dakota? I'm outraged by that too. That's nothing compared to owning the drillers for the natural gas industry. They already own a major interest in the semiconductors, which is in everything that we do. All of our cell phones, everything else. If you have TikTok, I hate to tell you, but if China wants to know where you are, they know exactly where you are right now because of your location. They have compromised so much of our technology. Do we really want them to own our infrastructure of our energy industry in America? And who is leading this effort? The Biden family. The Biden family. So we released that last week. But then this week, the person who made the map, because you know Hunter Biden wasn't smart enough to make a map in China, right? It was his assistant. Started digging on this assistant. And she is a young lady from China who, dig a little more, was very active in the Chinese Communist Party, and dig a little more, and in conversation with our whistleblowers who are former Hunter Biden associate, she's a Chinese spy. So it's the same situation we had with Eric Swalwell with Hunter Biden. There's a big difference in Eric Swalwell and Hunter Biden. You know, Eric Swalwell's a member of Congress. We're a dime a dozen, right? We're all replaceable. But if you're the son of the Vice President of the United States, who's keeping, according to Hunter's emails to everyone, keeping the Vice President of the United States up, paying his bills and everything else, then that's a national security risk. The reason we're investigating Hunter Biden is not political. It's because I sincerely believe that Hunter Biden is a national security risk who has compromised his father, the President of the United States. So we're going to continue to try to expose this. We're going to continue to get answers. As soon as the November elections are over, all the letters that we've sent to the White House and to the Treasury Department requesting information that I should have already gotten, we're going to demand that information and tell them that we expect to see that on January the 5th or 6th, whatever day it is that we'll assume the majority. If not, then we'll let them explain in a congressional hearing with a subpoena why they haven't delivered that information. It's that important. The two biggest issues in America with conservatives right now, it should be the two biggest issues with everyone, is trying to determine the origination of COVID-19 and hold people accountable for any potential wrongdoing or any potential cover-ups. And then trying to determine if our President of the United States is compromised by our adversary. I'm going to give you two examples. And I know most of you watch Fox News and Newsmax and you read Breitbart and you read all the certain publications. So I just want to make sure you know this. The media will always ask, you know, and I'm going on CNN. So it's not just the conservative. We try to, you know, everybody needs to hear this story. The two examples that Joe Biden has done to try to cover up, protect, block congressional investigation. Two examples that I can give right now that he's compromised because of his son's shady business. Number one, the suspicious activity reports. If you've heard me talk about that, if you're a banker, you know what a SARS is, a suspicious activity report. That's when the bank notifies the federal government that we believe our client may have committed a criminal activity. I'm going to go out on a limb because I was a director of a bank for a long time, for over a decade. I'm going to say that nobody in this room has ever had a suspicious activity report. If you have, you haven't had more than one. And I'm pretty sure that nobody's ever had one. I'm pretty sure you don't know anybody that's ever had it because there's so few. They're very seldom does the bank do that because that's the bank inviting the bank examiners to come in and look around, and no bank wants the bank examiners to come in any more than they already do. Hunter Biden had 150 of those. These suspicious activity reports were created by George W. Bush after September 11th to try to be able to track foreign transactions from foreign terror cells into the United States. Now they've expanded over time to include things like money laundering, but whatever the reason, it's suspicion of criminal activity. He had 150 of these from 5 different banks. Under President Bush, under President Obama, and under President Trump. Any member of Congress had access to suspicious activity reports because they were created so that law enforcement could share information. Because when we saw who flew the planes into the buildings on September 11th, it was obvious that Saudi Arabia had been transferring money in for all their expenses. Somebody should have known that, but they didn't, because of privacy laws in the bank and things like that. That's why those things were created. And they also was created so Congress could have access. When Joe Biden came in on day one and started doing executive orders and rule changes like canceling the Keystone Pipeline,